All right, what's up, you guys? So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna try learning coding from scratch. Here we go. All right, so a quick background in terms of why I want to start learning how to code is because there's this app idea that I want to create, and most of my friends that know how to code are way too busy for them to be helping me. Plus, I started looking into how much it would cost for me to hire someone to do the app for me, and quite frankly, that's way too expensive. So, scratch that. I did get a lot of feedback in terms of what language I should start, and most of them said JavaScript. From JavaScript, I'm going to start learning how to do React Native, where I'm going to start doing mobile apps. But on the way there, I have a feeling that I'm going to start dipping my toes in HTML and CSS. In terms of experience, I pretty much have no experience whatsoever, so we're going to be coding from scratch. Let's get it. So we're going to start learning how to do JavaScript first. I learned how to print out things such as console.log, put in quotations, type in anything you want, stonks, put a semicolon at the end, save that bad boy, and then over here in the terminal, we can then do node to execute our code. So node and then our file name test.js, and there comes our output, stonks. So we're not supposed to be using this variable, but instead we're supposed to be using let and const. So they said I'm supposed to be using const all the time, but if I need to change the variable, then I have to use let. Const would be used for fixed variables, and I guess let would be used for variables that are not fixed. Look at this. I didn't put any semicolons whatsoever. Once I hit save, it'll organize everything, I guess. See that? I just click save and there you go. But yeah, having prettier just makes the whole code so much easier and more efficient, I guess. And another thing that was a really good extension is something called a live server, okay? Okay, so this is my server. It's here. It's on the browser now, so I can see all the stuff that I have here. But it turns out it looks so ugly. I don't know why. Maybe that's because I don't have HTML added on it. All right, so I think I found the solution on why my server is acting all crazy. I need to create an HTML code and link my JavaScript code onto that HTML so that it inputs everything here. There you go. See? Much cleaner. Where's the console? I guess this is it. Well, let's try it out. Console.log. There you go, stonks. I think we could do it a couple times just to see if it works. Stonk, 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 stonk. So we have installed two things, Prettier and a live server. All right, so big things are happening. We just learned how to do if and else statements. So, okay, let's test it out. So, will this work? How do I call it out? Oh, there you go. It calls it out for me. We could even type it in here. Let x equals, I don't know, let's say 50. Once I click save, this thing will change. Your number is greater than 20. And that, folks, is if and else statements. We're progressing really fast. Wow. I'm going to try making my first game, and that's a guessing game. So essentially, it's this. So I ended up drafting something before I started creating the code. First, we will generate a random number through a function. Once I feel like everything is just going to be in one big function. Once we generate a random number, we're going to ask or prompt the user to guess a number if to guess what kind of number it is, right? And then we could then create a loop that checks out the conditions. If it's greater than the random number, then we will tell the user that your number is too high. So it gives them hints. Oh no, we forgot something here. We forgot to define the while condition. So we gotta make sure that while x does not equal the random number, okay, while x does not equal the random number that we generated, it'll keep doing this. Okay, now it should work. There you go. 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 9. Oh, it's 8. The answer is 8, bro. But why is it still asking me? Oh, something's wrong with my code. We can't have let x there because we already defined x here, and I guess that just creates more problems. Okay, here we go. It works now. Let's run it again. Okay, guess a number between 0 and 10. So we'll keep doing it so that you guys can see it. I guessed 1. Your number's too low. We can guess 5. Your number's still too low. We can guess 10. Your number's way too high. 6. Too low. 7. 8. It's 9. 9. Okay. All right, so that's the first game that we made. I did a lot of things within this code for this guessing game. We did a function. we did a while loop, we did conditions such as if and else if statements, and then we defined two variables and a prompt if you count that as well. So lots of things happened. All right, welcome back. So as you could tell, we already did the basics for JavaScript. So at this point, I'm starting to learn DOM, which is Document Object Model. And for me to do that, I need to understand what nodes are. And I think the best way to learn it is to go through HTML and CSS first. And then from there, we could then create our own mini website just to get comfortable with it. And then we could use the skills that we learned to learn JavaScript, because I'm seeing terms like query selectors and create elements. I have no clue what those are. So we ended up learning properties of HTML and CSS. So now we're just going to try implementing that over to a mini project. We're going to create a travel website. We'll see how it goes. All right, so first things first, we're going to start from scratch. I do have a live server here. Let's take it a step further by adding something called transition on this button. When someone hovers over this button, then the color will change. And to do that, we just have to do transition. I think we're going to do it for the background first. And then for how many seconds? I think let's do 1 second. And then we could do ease in out. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so I finally finished my travel website as an HTML and CSS project. I did all this from scratch. It was a blank white page at the very beginning, and now we have all this content, which I'm proud of. At the very top, we have our navigation bar. Below it, we have our hero section, in which I added a couple text to it. I added a header and a paragraph along with a button that I'm very pleased about. When you hover over it, it has a little animation. Below our hero section, we added more content to the page. What I like most about this is the animated clouds. I thought this was going to take me a while to do, but it was a simple transform, translate, and CSS. Moving below that, we have our card selection, which is separated in a couple div tags. Finally, I added a very simple Contact Us page and a footer section at the very bottom of the website. Overall, this was a fun project to do. It made me implement all the things that I've learned, which was nice to see in action. Flexbox is probably the most important factor in this website because it organized and made me manipulate things the way I wanted it to be. I also managed to make it mobile responsive, so now I could probably sell this as a WordPress theme. Alright, what's going on, you guys? So we just finished our first HTML and CSS project. Last week we were actually learning how to do JavaScript to the point where we learned the basics and we pretty much built a foundation. So now we're going to try tackling on a JavaScript project. And that's going to be a simple to-do list. Here we go. Okay, here's the finished JavaScript project, the to-do list. Let us put a bunch of stocks that we can do. So let's put Intel, Tesla, Netflix, Zoom, and Spy. Let's say we finish doing Tesla, we can click the check mark, it puts a line through it, and it lowers the opacity. Let's say we want to get rid of Zoom. It does a little animation where it takes it out of the list, and it increments the list again. So as you can see, it's pretty functional and responsive. It does what it's supposed to do. We could even keep doing this and that. Yeah, so I like it. And that is my to-do list. All right, and there goes our 30-day coding experience. So we pretty much started from scratch where we ended up starting in JavaScript and then we ended up moving to HTML and CSS by learning the basics. And then we transitioned into learning what DOM is and implementing that into JavaScript. So we ended up learning a bunch of functions, loops, a bunch of arguments, conditions, arrays, objects, and we were able to implement that into a mini game, which is the guessing game, and two projects. So one being the HTML and CSS project, the website, and then the other one for JavaScript, which is the to-do list. Overall, this was a great experience. I ended up learning a bunch of things, and I would say that my progress was kind of good in terms of learning how to code. But yeah, thanks for watching.